Make it 3 in a row for the Dallas Stars as they take down the Senators by a final score of 4-2. Jason Robertson and Roope Hintz really starting to heat up, and Oscar Bäck signs an extension. We'll get into all of it on today's episode of Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. The Dallas Stars extend their win streak to 3 games and their first win of 2025 with a 4-2 victory over the Ottawa Senators. Jason Robertson and Roope Hintz really starting to heat up, along with Duchene, Ben, and Johnston, the top 2 lines starting to roll, which is a good sign. It wasn't all perfect, but the Stars got out of there with 2 points. Plus, Oscar Bäck signed an extension on Thursday. We'll get into that as well on a Friday edition of Locked On Stars that is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $250 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Plenty of takeaways in a 4-2 victory for the Stars. They extend their point streak to 5 games as well. Number one, Jason Robertson and Roope Hintz are starting to look like themselves for a much longer period of time than they have in really the first 3 months of the season. They are looking so dangerous, along with Duchene, Ben, and Johnston. The top 2 lines are producing, and really the only lines producing for the Dallas Stars here of late. But it's a good sign, because when Johnston and Roope and Robo are going the way they are, Stars can be a tough team to beat, even when they're not scoring on the power play or when they're still not playing their best hockey. And that's my number one takeaway, even in the win. And it's a negative, but the Stars have to start playing more than 35, 40 minutes of hockey if they want to win more consistently. The first period, again, is just a microcosm of the entire season. I don't know what it is with the Stars, how they can get off to such strong starts and then just nosedive and forget how to play in the span of 30 seconds. They draw a penalty. They score on the power play. All righty, time to roll again. Roope Hintz gets a beautiful deflection off the shot of Robertson for his 16th goal of the season, or his 17th, actually. He gets his 18th a bit later on. And then all of a sudden, the tide changes. Ottawa scores twice in the span of 30 seconds. And then Dallas is playing on their heels again. And that carried over into the second period. I mean, the first 10 minutes of the second period were god-awful. Abysmal, Stars fans. Really bad. I can't put it in nicer words. It was really bad. They were on their heels. Ottawa won every board battle. The Sens were all over Dallas, and the Stars were lucky that the Sens didn't make them pay. And for the most part, they didn't give up a ton of quality chances in the second period at 5-on-5, but the amount of time they spent in their defensive zone was probably a good 8 minutes of the first 10 of the second period. All Dallas could do was flip it out. Dumba and Harley were really bad in the middle period. Harley and Miro had nights to forget for the most part in the contest. Both of their turnovers led to goals in the first. A bonehead play by Harley that led to the first Sens goal. And then Miro gets his pocket picked by Tkachuk, who sets up Greg for the Sens' second goal. And again, you leave the first period after what was sort of a decent start for Dallas, and you're just shell-shocked and numb again because Dallas is trailing after you feel that, or not even you feel, the Stars showed you they're the better team in the first 6 minutes of the hockey game, but they just cannot put that together for long enough stretches until Jamie Benn's goal, which, kind of just came out of nowhere. It's not like Dallas had a good run of play up to that point. He got a nice deflection off a body, and it goes far down, and you're like, okay, maybe that kick starts Dallas, and it did. Roope came back just over a minute later. A beautiful play by Dadonov off the faceoff to work after a loose puck. Robertson with a nice nifty play in front to just shield away a couple of Sens. And then Roope came in to roof it. He's got 18 on the season. I mean, they're the story of the night once again. Roope just cannot be stopped. Johnston has 2 points on the night as well. Robertson gets 2 points, and Roope as well. So those are the positives. But man, does Dallas have to put together more than 40 minutes of hockey, and this isn't something that's just happening recently. It's been all season long, and it's so frustrating. And fortunately, Dallas was able to get their act together in that second period a bit more, and they carried that over into the third. Look, the third was dominant. The third is spectacular. Really, the best hockey the Stars have probably played all season with a 1-goal lead. And they added insurance late because Johnston made a great play behind the net to set up Duchesne, but they only gave up, 3 shots on goal? Make it 2 shots on goal in the third period. The Sens had a expected goals of 0.39 in the third period, like complete shutdown and a closeout of a 1-goal lead by the Stars in the third period. That was excellent. That was Dallas Stars hockey, just taking it to Ottawa, not giving up anything for the most part. Ottawa was not really tested for the entire third period, and Dallas was able to close it out, and that was the real positive of the night. They outshot Ottawa 25-13 in the contest. Their expected goals for 3.31. The top 2 lines are rolling. Stankoven and Bork had a litany of chances. They just cannot score. They are so snake bitten. It's so unfortunate. And if Dallas can get them going, man, they could be dangerous. I think Bork and Stankoven ended up with the top 2 expected goals for percentage number, and they did. Yeah, Bork and Stankoven had the most. Ended up with 9 scoring chances for Stankoven, 8 for Bork. Had a couple of good looks early. I thought that line in terms of forechecking was probably the best line for Dallas. They sort of changed the tide for Dallas. I felt in that second period there was a shift by Stankoven and Steele that was really strong and sort of gave Dallas some life after being on their heels for most of the second. And right now, the top 2 lines for Dallas are cooking, which is great. And we'll get into Robo and Roope a bit more, who have been so productive for Dallas. And those are my main takeaways. Again, I sort of come back to this, and I know it's negative in a victory for Dallas, but gosh, they have to put more than 35 minutes of hockey together. It kept the Sens in it for way too long. And the power play, I mean, much to be desired. Again, 1 for 5, and they scored on their first, and you're thinking, okay, here we go. But it kept Ottawa in it for much longer than it could have been. I mean, they had two power plays, I want to say, early in the third. They had 2 within the first 7 minutes, and they cannot find a way to capitalize. And it's going to come back to bite them if they don't figure it out. 1 for 5 is not good enough. You have to bury teams when you can. And fortunately, you were pretty stout down the stretch where it didn't come back to cost you. But and your penalty kill is fantastic. That helps as well. it's the only thing that hasn't been inconsistent for Dallas this season. They're 4 for 4 on the kill tonight. But again, if the Sens are able to pot one, you're probably talking about a game that goes to overtime, and who knows if they pick up the full 2 points. And I hate to even bring it up because it is a Stars win and they get to 2 points. But my goodness, the power play is not doing the Stars any favors. Oh, they could make life so much easier on themselves if they can just be a bit more sharp on the man advantage. But I mean, great nights from, again, some of the Stars' best players outside of Miro and Harley. 2 of your best defensemen make the 2 turnovers that lead to goals for Ottawa. But Otter was okay. Only had to face 13 shots. So I mean, for the most part, Dallas played pretty strongly. And as much as I didn't like that second period because they were just hemmed in, they didn't give up a ton of quality chances. Ottawa had 7 high danger chances in the game total. So, I mean, that's good stuff from Dallas and plenty to build on. Third period was fantastic. And I want that to certainly not go overstated. Brilliant stuff from the Stars in the third period. Man, it's nice that the Stars have a couple of lines going, since for most of the season it's really just been one. To have 2 that look dangerous and I'm starting to put up numbers is a great sign. And Robo and Roope specifically starting to really heat up. So we'll get into 21 and 24 here in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL regular season is almost over. There's still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can place a $5 bet and win $250 in bonus bets if your $5 bet wins. Finish the season strong. Week 18 is right around the corner. FanDuel has so many ways for you to catch a W. You can bet on things like which player will score a touchdown, how many points each team will score, and so much more. It is so thrilling. Get the FanDuel app. It takes 30 seconds. Download it. It's free. It's available on the App Store and your Google Play Store. FanDuel has so many ways for you to catch a W, and the Week 18 slate is here. Get in on the action this Saturday and Sunday. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Since December 1st, Roope Hintz has 9 goals. Jason Robertson leads the team with 17 points. And this is the version of Roope and Robo. I kind of put the 2 together. Roope and Robo that we have come to expect and adore here in Dallas. And for as much flack as I have given those 2 this season, they are starting to turn it on, and it really could not come at a better time. But see what happens when you're getting these type of performances out of your best players. The Stars can win games even when they're not playing at their best. When they weren't getting these type of performances, the Stars were losing games like this because they relied so heavily on Duchesne, Sagan, and Marchment. They're without Marchment right now, and Sagan. And they're still finding ways to put away games right now to the best of their ability. And yeah, it's Buffalo, Chicago, and Ottawa. Is it the best resume builder? No, but at this point, who gives a rip? The Stars needed 2 points, and they got it here tonight. But just the overall jump that Robo has too, you can really see his 200-foot game pop out at you. He's been really strong in his own zone. He broke up a few plays off the rush on the night, and the way that he can scamper from his own zone, get out to neutral ice, like you see the pep and the energy. He's just skating a lot better. Seems to be a much more confident player, especially in between the blue lines where he's holding on to the puck and he's not dishing it off or throwing pucks in deep like you saw for large parts of this season because he just didn't have his legs. I think you're starting to see him maybe catch up to the speed because he's starting to be that sort of elusive and sticky with the puck on his blade Robertson that we've been accustomed to seeing in recent seasons. And now it's starting to click. And Roope, I mean, is just flying out there, had such a big night. He's got 18 this season. I mean, he's well on pace to crack the 30 mark. And, Robertson's been a bit of a setup man here lately. And let's not forget about Duchesne and Johnston. Johnston had another brilliant night, picks up 2 assists. What a setup on the Duchesne insurance goal. That was huge. Another insurance tally that, Dallas has struggled to get at points this season, and they're starting to get those. So I love the play from Roope and Robo recently. They ended up with game scores 2.56 for Roope, and Robo had 2.38. That line in particular with Dadonov, they ended up with 4 scoring chances, make it 3 on the night at 5-on-5. Johnston and them are right behind them at 3-2. So just really, really strong stuff from those 2 lines outside of, really the first 10 minutes of the second period. After it seemed like Dallas was on their heels after Ottawa scored a couple of times. And again, the Sens were a better team. But as the game wore on, Dallas showed what they can bring to the table. And when Roope and Robo are at this level, Dallas can win a lot of games on those 2 alone. Like, they're really good players. I know we've harped on them for not producing enough, but when they do, it sort of proves all of our points that Stars can be a damn good team if those 2 are just somewhat average, somewhat to where they usually are. They can win games, and it doesn't have to be, such a perfect performance from the Stars. Of course, you would like Dallas to be better for an entire 60. It's hard to accomplish. I'll give them that, but when 21 or 24 are scoring at the level they are, Dallas can be tough to beat because they are elite players in the NHL when they want to be, or at least when they're scoring at this level. And Dallas hasn't got enough of it, but boy, are they getting plenty of it here over the last few weeks. And it makes it so much easier to watch when Robertson is making plays. He's not flat-footed. He's not guessing. He's not hesitant. It's just so direct. And Dadonov on that line, I think, really frees them up, gives them a little extra gear speed-wise, and they're just flying around. And they just look so much better. And maybe it's just confidence because we knew it was there all along. But I thought another strong performance from the top 2 lines, and Robertson and Hintz in general look pretty good. Have to be better on the power play, of course. And they have, a few turnovers here and there. But, for the most part, starting to find a groove, and it's not perfect, but it's better. It's better, Stars fans. And again, this feels like a nice win. It's not massive for the time being. They're in 3rd place in the Central now. It all depends if Colorado is able to come back against Buffalo. As I'm recording this, they're down 3-2 to the Sabres. So we'll have to see how that one finishes up. Buffalo goes up 4-2 early. So we'll see if Dallas can hold on to third here heading into tomorrow, but it's the 1,000th win for Dallas since 2000, which was pretty crazy. 1,000 wins since the turn of the century, the third fastest team in the NHL to do that. So there we go. Good way to kick off 2025, however. Another win, first of the new year, 3 in a row now for Dallas, 5 on the point streak. And you got Utah coming to town in a couple of days. But let's get into the Oscar Bäck extension that was signed earlier today. The Dallas Stars have signed him for a couple more years. I'll give my thoughts on the extension in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Rocket Money. How many subscriptions do you have, Stars fans? I have about 5 or 6. Sometimes I have to pay for one just because I want to watch one TV show. Rocket Money helps you find the subscriptions you are paying for, and more importantly, the ones you forgot about. Makes it so easy to track them down. That's why you should get Rocket Money. It's like a personal assistant for your finances. It's an app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow that savings. It brings everything all into one place, whether it's subscriptions, spending habits, or even goals you want to hit in this new year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Go ahead, cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. So breaking news, as of Thursday morning, the Dallas Stars have signed Oscar Bäck to a 2-year contract extension that will run through the 2025-26 season. The 2-year deal has an average annual value of $825,000, which I think is a great deal for Dallas and a great deal for Oscar Bäck, who's made a very, very nice impression here in Dallas in his rookie season. Has 9 points now, has been a steady force on this fourth line for Dallas. It's a decent pay raise for Bäck, as well as making $775,000 here this season. But I think it's a win-win for both sides here. It's just it's perfect for Dallas and the type of player that Oscar Bäck is. He is sort of your Radek Faksa. You don't expect him to score a ton. If he can provide some offense, of course, it is great, but he is responsible defensively. He's a role player. He's strong on the dots. That's what you need in some players and what you have to have in a cup contender. Sometimes you just need those guys that play a simple style of game. It gets overlooked a lot of the times, but he's so consistent. And I think it's a great deal for both sides, and for really what Oscar Bäck is. It's kind of a steal for Dallas, under $1 million to get a player like Oscar Bäck, who you really can just throw out there and you don't have to worry about. And credit to Dallas. Again, this is a 3rd-round pick that spent a couple of seasons in the AHL down in Cedar Park. He got his chance coming out of camp and has turned heads in a positive way. I'll be honest, I was sort of on the R2 Hero train coming into the season. I wanted him to sort of be the 13th forward, so I guess it wouldn't have had to replace Bäck anyways. I guess it was more of a decision between maybe Colin Blackwell more than it was Bäck, who I think has really found himself a spot, or at least solidified his roster spot here in Dallas. Speaking of Hero, thought he had a decent debut. He was involved, got to the front of the net a lot. That was something that I loved for a smaller guy. Like he got to the front of the net and tried to bang a couple of shots home, at 3 scoring chances on the night. He played under 9 minutes, so he didn't get a ton of action, but had some moments in a few of his shifts out there. But to bring it back to Bäck, he's sort of going to be your Ess Lindell up front, right? Doesn't get a lot of the glory, but it just plays such a consistent game. And you need those type of depth pieces. So congrats to Bäck, and good on the Stars for getting this done. So looking forward to seeing where his career takes him. And again, a 3rd round pick, and Dallas, it looks like, Oscar Bäck could play 8 to 10 seasons here in Dallas, really, just because of his nature, his style of game. Just it could be a foxer. It's like 8 years go by, you're like, man, he's just steadily been there. He's been a part of the Stars for a large stretch. So looking forward to see that. And look, not all of your picks are going to be the Stankovens or the Johnstons of the world. You need guys like Bäck. So credit to Stars organization for developing another good one. So those are my thoughts on the Oscar Bäck extension. So good on Bäck. Those are the type of players you love to see get rewarded for what they have brought. Excited to see his game continue to develop, and maybe there's some more offense in there at some point as he becomes a more seasoned player. And Pete DeBoer mentioned it a bit today in a press conference about how Bäck's game translates a lot easier to the NHL level than it does for players like even Wyatt Johnston. I know he's been great, but let's take it to Maverick Bourque, who we know is starting to still try to find his rhythm at this level. But good for Bäck again. I keep saying it. I think it's a great deal for both sides. And he gets to celebrate it with a win here over the Senators by a final score 4-2, 3 in a row for the Dallas Stars. We'll see if they can continue to make it a run. Another big one here coming up against Utah, who's given them every bit of trouble in the first 2 games. Maybe we see DeSmith again, who sort of has had the hockey club number in the first 2 meetings of this season. So that'll do it for a Friday edition of Locked On Stars. What a week it was. A busy one as well. Finnish Mafia had a big night in Dallas. A thank you, as always, for the love and support on each and every episode. Thank you for putting your comments in each video. It has been phenomenal here recently. Always a ton of fun to read your takes and observations throughout this season. So thank you guys. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe as we head into this new year. If you have not subscribed, please be sure to subscribe. Drop a rating on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts as well. Share it with your friends. Let's continue to grow this community. It's been fantastic. All righty. No episode on the weekend. I'll be a busy boy here calling some games, but I'll be right back at it on a Monday. So enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Stars game on Saturday, and we'll see you next week. So long, Stars fans.